everyone, it's Sarah from Sassy Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I read in 2018. So, let's dive right in with a 5-star read. The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a solid 5-star read for me. I listened to the audiobook of this, which is fantastic. The narrator for this is amazing. Her name is January Lavoie, I think. One of the best narrators I've ever come across, especially for this, because this book is set in the 1920s, and we follow people who have divine, supernatural abilities. So the beginning of this novel starts out with these people who are playing with this Ouija board, and they unleash a demon named Naughty John, who has been waiting to be unleashed so he could fulfill the bringing forth of the apocalypse. And we follow Evie O'Neill, who has this divine ability to touch stuff or a person and know their deepest, darkest secrets or something that has happened to them. Then we also have Jerica Jones, who has divine powers. We have Memphis Campbell, who is a black man in Harlem who has divine powers and was once able to heal people. And we also have the shop that Evie's uncle owns, Uncle Vic. Unc. She calls him Unc. His name is Uncle Will, but she calls him Unc. And he owns like this weird occult museum. And it's super fun. It's really creepy. It's scary. There's murders occurring in New York that are at the hands of Naughty John, but they don't realize that it's supernatural until as the novel progresses. So it's a fun, wild ride. The narration's great. The atmosphere is spooky and horrifying and scary, and it's kind of unsettling, and it's really just brilliant. I really commend Libba Bray for tackling this novel because it's not short, but it just has this great atmosphere. I love the 1920s. I love horror. I love spooky things. And I love people with magical powers. So, like, this hits all my check marks. Oh, also, I love, like, serial killer and true crimes. So, like, this is, like, one of my novels. Like, this is a novel that kind of caters specifically to me. It may not cater specifically to you, but it caters to me, and I love it, and I can't wait to continue the series. Sadly, my library doesn't have the audiobooks for Layer of Dreams or When the Devil Breaks You, which I'm kind of like, how dare you only have one audiobook for the first in the series and not the rest? So I'm probably just going to have to read them physically, but I'm okay with that. Although I really want to listen to the audio because this audiobook was fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. Go check it out. It's great. It's spooky. And Evie's like always singing, and like, if you know anything about the 1920s, then you know like the music's like jazzy. And jazz music, in my opinion, I always say like, if you hear jazz music, there's probably a demon around. And so like, it's just fun. Like, she like sings, and like, so like, it's like really spooky, and it adds to like the tone of the story. And I just love it. It's so much fun, and I'm excited to see where this novel goes. So yeah, The Diviners. It's a fun, wild ride. The next book I'm going to talk about is called Lady in Waiting, Becoming God's Best While Waiting for Mr. Right by Jackie Kendall and Debbie Jones. I gave this book 4.25 stars. Technically, this book is like not long at all. It's like that long, which is nothing, and the rest is like devos and study guides, which I did like. I like that that's in the back. Yeah, I really like this novel. It's interesting. It has some convicting moments, but I do feel like the authors are kind of juvenile in their own treatment towards other women, as well as how they judge women who have fallen short of being like Ruth. And this is like kind of a Ruth study, which is what I'm here for. I love the Book of Ruth, so that was more enjoyable. But every now and then when they make a comment that I was like, this is earthly and it is not spiritual, I'd be like, so that's why it didn't get like a 5-star rating from me. But it is good. I don't know if I recommend it or not, because I don't really feel like it's one of those books that I really want to recommend for a Christian, just because unless you're called to read it, it's probably not going to be for you. That's just how I feel about it. Then the next book is a book that I read for Peter Likes Books book club called Peter's Book Club. We read back in June Endless Night by Richard Lehman. I got this on Kindle for 99 cents, which I rarely buy books on Kindle, but I was like hyped for it. Like, Peter was always talking about Richard Lehman because he's a horror author, and I was like, ooh, this sounds fun. We're gonna read Endless Night. So Endless Night follows Jody, who is sleeping over at her best friend Evelyn's house, when all of a sudden she wakes up in the dead of night and there's like a window downstairs being broken, and they're like, something's not right. Well, as they like crypto out of Evelyn's room, they see, well, Jody witnesses Evelyn being murdered brutally, and she survives because the man didn't realize that there was someone who wasn't a family member in the house. And so she's creep-toeing around the house trying to save Evelyn's brother, and they are witnessing these men who are like cannibal killers, which is an interesting premise. And Jody and Andy like barely end up escaping, but the people who ran this like killer cannibal gang are like, they tell this guy named Simon, who's the other perspective we follow, you didn't catch them, it's your fault. You have to catch them because now they know about us and we've never had a witness before, and this is a problem. So he's hunting Jody and Andy down. I gave this novel 1 star. Y'all, Richard Lehman is not for me. This is gratuitous, this is downright disgusting, and I gave 5 stars to The Diviners. So like, obviously, like, I like gross stuff, but this is gross to the point like where it's just sickening. Especially since we're following Simon's viewpoint, it's just unnecessary. I have a review for it because I wrote a review. I raged about it. The narrative is fast-paced, but this is just too obscene for me, y'all. Like, there's glorification of rape, murder, and torture, and I just can't get behind that. I can't do it. Like, I wasn't here for it. I was unsettled. I was put off. This novel is nothing but like torture porn, and I don't. No. So yeah, go read my review because I feel like it, you know, it shows all the problems that I have with it. I don't like the heroine. She was not a good heroine, and they were always talking about her boobs, and I was like, I don't care. They were always talking about how pretty she was, and I was like, I don't care. And they were always, then like that Andy kid, this guy's like 12 years old, and he's like obsessed with Jody, and like, he reminded me of that kid from Apt Pupil. So I was like, nope. So yeah, just go check out my review for that one because that's a hot mess. Then I listened to The Good Daughter by Karin Slaughter. So I really love Karin Slaughter. The Good Daughter is an interesting read. It follows these 2 girls who have experienced like great tragedy. Their father, he was more of a liberal lawyer in a very conservative town, and he basically got off the wrong person, and he ended up like getting he was basically like hated by everyone in town. And so we follow these 2 girls named Charlotte and Samantha who, it goes back and forth between the incident that happened when they were little, where they witnessed their mom being murdered brutally in the kitchen, what followed and what happened to them, which is horrific, and what happens 28 years later when they are separated and have to come back to their hometown of Pikeville, and what also happens at a school with a shooting and how that relates. It's wild, it's crazy, I don't want to spoil it, but The Good Daughter is definitely a wild ride. It's graphic, it's gruesome, and the flashback scenes like broke my heart and soul. So yeah, out of all these, I'm going to recommend The Diviners the most. So let me know down below in the comments if you're interested in reading any of these books. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. Happy reading.